This is a reading from the beginning of the Gospel of John. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. He was in the beginning with God. All things were made through him, and without him was not anything made that was made. In him was life, and the life was the light of men. The light shines in the darkness, and the darkness has not overcome it. And the Word became flesh and dwelt among us. And we have seen his glory, glory as of the only Son from the Father, full of grace and truth. No matter how much we might desire to understand more fully the great mystery of the birth of Jesus Christ, the mystery of the Incarnation, we will never be able to fully grasp the depth of it, because when we look at the birth of Christ, we are looking at a love that is beyond us, beyond our human comprehension. St. John writes, "And the Word became flesh and dwelt among us." What does that mean to us as human persons? How do we respond to this? Well, every year at Christmas, we celebrate. Every year we joyfully anticipate the coming of Christmas, and when it comes, we celebrate. I suppose there really is no more joyful time of the year, not only for the children, but for everyone. Even though the older we get, the more exhausted we might become because of all the preparations that do go into the making of a beautiful Christmas. And it is right that we should respond to the birth of Christ by making it a time of great beauty and wonder, a time when we do give gifts to show our love for one another, a time when we sing beautiful Christmas carols that touch our hearts and stir our imaginations of that first Christmas in Bethlehem. It is right for us to gather together around the table with family and friends, and it is right to put up a beautifully lit Christmas tree and to put gifts all around it. It's right because the light of the world has been born to give himself to us as God's greatest gift. It is right for us all to come together on Christmas to the house of the Lord Jesus Christ, because what we celebrate at Christmas has changed the world forever. Darkness has been dispelled because a radiant and everlasting light has been born. God has taken on human flesh. God has become a tiny and a helpless infant, born to the Virgin Mary in a cold stable in Bethlehem. God has reached out to embrace us with such tenderness, such mercy, such intimate love. Jesus Christ is born. God has become one with us. Why would God do that? For two reasons. God wanted us to know who God really is. And God wanted us to know who we really are and for what purpose we were created and how precious we are in the sight of God. God is love, and we are God's beloved ones. This is the reason we exist, and this is the reason why Christ has come among us. God desires that we might share in the very life of God. That was God's plan from the very beginning, wasn't it? But we broke away from the divine embrace of God. We pushed God away right from the very beginning in the beautiful Garden of Eden. And in doing that, we became lost in the darkness, a darkness of our own making. But God would not allow us to remain lost in the darkness, because God's love for us is intimate. God's love for us is personal. And so God came to us. God became flesh. And we behold the face of God when we behold the infant Jesus, Christ the Lord. Christ the Lord, who brings us out of the darkness and into his marvelous light. Christ takes on our humanity so that we might come to share in his divinity. He is born that we might come to a full knowledge of the love of God that is given to each one of us. He is born that we might know how eternally precious each one of us is to our God, who is love. We will never fully understand we will never fully understand the great mystery of creation, nor will we ever fully understand or comprehend this great mystery of the incarnation, the coming of Jesus Christ. But when we look at the infant Jesus, lying in a manger in a cold stable in Bethlehem, we must at least begin to see how greatly God desires to be with us and how profoundly we are loved. May we allow that divine and perfect love to enter into our hearts this Christmas. And with Mary, his mother and our mother, may we make the love of God present to one another. Our mother holds the Christ child in her arms and presents him to us. May we embrace him, and may we bring his light, his love, and his peace into our world. May the blessings and the peace of Christmas be with you all.